It's the lens, it's the lens, it's the lens, gotta live diverse. It's the lens, it's the lens, it's the lens, live diverse. You are listening to The Lens Living Diverse, a podcast brought to you by the CNIB advocacy team. Join Neisha, Vivi, and I as we speak to individuals with intersecting identities who live with sight loss as they share their unique stories. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Lens Living Diverse. Today, I will be doing it solo. I'm your host, Ben. And the one thing I really enjoy, even growing up, hip hop, enjoying some great music, enjoying some great beats. So today we have a special episode that's close to my heart, and we have a special guest as well. We'll be talking about hip hop culture, DJ, making music, and even the Black young men's experience. So I have someone I always want to get on the show for a while. It's been a long time, but we finally got him. I have the one and only George Quarcoo. George, my man, how you doing today?
Hey man, I'm doing good. And it's definitely been a long time coming, man.
A long time coming.
Hasn't worked out in the past, but I'm glad that we were able to, connect and do this.
Exactly. And I know you're a legend, upcoming legend, because what you're doing you're doing so much, man. You're doing so much different things for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot. Definitely got a little bit going on. Not gonna lie.
Always busy. So,
of course.
Before we get started, I want you to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and actually about your intersectionalities and what you do. So the floor is yours, bro.
For sure. So yeah, as you said, my name is George. I actually go by the name DJ GQ. That's my artist name, or GQ Sounds. I'm a DJ producer. Mainly do hip hop, but I also do, I play everything. Like I'm pretty diverse when it comes to DJing. And yeah, I'm a Black African male who has sight loss. So I lost my vision when I was 9 years old. And since then, I've been adapting to the side of the world a little differently, moving differently in the side of the world as a Black artist, and yeah, trying to make the most of it.
So George, also Africa, from Ghana, eh?
Yes, sir. 100%.
I gotta be a little biased being another Ghanaian person. So yeah, just had to let the listeners hear that as well, because I'm always talking about Ghana. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. I was born and raised in Ghana. Came to Canada when I was about 12 years old. And I've been in Canada since, you know what I mean? But yeah, definitely born and raised there.
Yeah. Whereabouts in Ghana?
Yes, sir. So I was born in Accra. That's the main capital city of Ghana. So
big city.
Yes, sir.
Big city. Okay, I got you. So actually, I guess let's get into this, because I could talk all day with George for sure about Ghana culture and all that.
Yes, sir. There's a lot to talk about, but yeah.
Maybe another episode for sure. So even George, you as a DJ, what are the barriers, or even DJ, hip hop, a producer, everything that you do, what are the barriers that you find with being an individual with sight loss in the hip hop culture?
Yeah, I mean, like it even comes, like, it stems from you know culturally, people not really believing in you per se. That you're able to achieve certain things. Like when I first lost my vision, my parents and just family members surrounding me really were sort of overprotective, right? They didn't really allow me to get out there and really expand my wings and try things and whatnot, right? And a lot of times, when I say I wanted to do something to family, they're like, nah, why you can't do certain things? You know what I mean? Like even wrestling, I love to wrestle when I was back in high school, stuff like that. They're like, nah, you got sight loss. How you gonna do that? Right. So like just even family barriers is just it's a lot of it. Right? I remember the first time I told my mom that, yo, I think DJing is my passion. I want to become a DJ. And she's like, the hell are you gonna do with DJing? You know what I mean? There's so much, like, as an African parent, her thing is you gotta go to school, get your degree, and it's either three things that you can become: a doctor, lawyer, or an engineer. You know what I mean? So anything else is just out of the question, But it was all through perseverance. I just pursue my passion, right? For hip hop, for DJing and everything. And once they sort of see, when the success is coming, once they sort of see that, then they're on board with it, right? And yeah, I mean, like some of the barriers, like in terms of accessibility, you know what I mean? A lot of software that I use to produce or to even DJ are not really accessible, right? So I had to find ways to try to navigate, the DAW, as they call it, which is digital audio workstation. I had to find ways to adapt, to learn, do things differently, right? Without sight, right? That other producers are able to do. You know what I mean? So that was some of the barriers that I really faced. That till this day still facing, trying to overcome whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. And you raised such a good point when you made mention on kind of putting the hip hop culture and the Ghanaian culture together, where it was a contrast, where it's like you made mention engineer, doctor, or a lawyer, and
That's
then
right.
you have a dream that's just so far to the left. It's like that's not gonna make you money. I think even throwing, not even just being Ghanaian, but throwing in sight loss, it's like that's not a world that you should step into. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So even with that said, it sounded like you were really breaking ground. So with that said, and I gotta ask you, like even for myself who makes hip hop as well, was there any person that you could look up to who was in the same realms as yourself?
I mean, yeah, like I had a lot of friends who were really into beat making. Like they were like producers. I there was one guy who um I mean, from the longest time since I've known him, always been making beats. And he had sight loss as well. I mean, he was a large print user, so he was able to sort of navigate his system with Zoom test or with Zoom, right, on the computer. But I, I, it's funny to say I'm like older than he is, but I always looked up to him. I'm like, dang, I want to be like that guy. If he could do it, I could definitely do it, right? And I had another friend who was totally blind, and man, the craft, the stuff that he makes, it is like, damn, it's just banger, right? So when I hear him, I'm like, yo, clearly, if they're doing it, I can certainly do it. You know what I mean? So I really looked up to those guys, and I'm like, and then the obviously like the bigger artists, like the people who've been in the game for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like I listen to Chassis Jeff a lot, right?
Old school, man.
Right, that's right. I really love the way he spins. I really look up to him, even scratches. You know what I mean? I look up to him a lot. So yeah, those are some of the influences and inspirational people I sort of followed and got me to where I am now.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. So, even with that said, it's wonderful that you bring up some legends for sure, plus people in your world as well. So,
Yeah,
uh, the one point that you made that is really resonates and I find very awesome is that music is universal. You know
for
what I
sure.
mean?
For sure. Music definitely is universal, man. It doesn't matter where you're from. You could be from Jupiter, like
Hmm?
anything can be music, right? And then people taught through music, making music together, man. I've been in a couple of groups where, we all speak different languages and whatnot and
Mm,
can't really communicate. But then as soon as we get on like instruments, man, we're making something beautiful, right?
yeah.
Music is universal. It's like a language that everybody can speak, right?
Yeah, I love it, and it's true. Like just like you said, culture, gender, ethnicity, race, religion,
It's all
disability. You're always included. You're always invited to be a part of music. You know what I mean? Like collaboration.
for sure, yeah, yeah. And I really like that aspect of, um, you know, music, like of pretty much like you know that art, right? As long as you can do something. Doesn't matter if you got a disability or whatnot. You,
Yeah,
you can join in and make something beautiful, right? And that's what, like I said, just to reiterate, um, music is definitely universal, right? It don't discriminate, right?
exactly. It reminds me even of a story when I was back in high school and I had sight loss. I went to school with people with sight, and I'd go to a party and people would start freestyling, right? You know, the guys would start freestyling, and then here's me, I'd hop in and just blow fire, and everybody's like, "What? Look at this guy, yo! This blind dude could like flow like that. What?" So,
Oh, man, it's like sometimes and that's what I man. I hope we had a lot more exposure to our talent, like the talent in the community, right? Because I don't know, it's weird, like when people see um you know individuals with disabilities, they expect so little from them, right?
mhm,
um like you said, you walked in and started spitting bars and everybody like, what, this black guy can spit, like, you know what I mean? But it shouldn't be that way. It should be, yo, come out, come do it too, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Disability can be the first thing that people look at, but I mean, I guess it's a generational thing. It's people look at us and I feel like feel sorry in some way, but I mean, it shouldn't be that way because there's a lot of talent, man. There's a lot of talent in the community, and it'll be great if that talent is integrated. You know what I mean? In society, break down those barriers and show the world that, yo, we've got some dope rappers, producers, and even audio engineers out there. You know what I mean?
yeah. Even singers out there. So,
Of
even with
course.
that said, we sort of went into it with what we were just talking about, but looking at the hip hop R&B culture that's throwing Afro beats, that's throwing reggae, looking at that culture and
Mhm.
popular artists now with having sight loss, is
Mhm.
it almost a contrast of you see these, let's say even hip hop artists, you see these hip hop artists who are hard and ruthless, ain't nobody gonna break them, and then you look at disability on the other side where you have to be vulnerable sometimes, you have to ask for help sometimes, you have to be comfortable with yourself. What is
Right.
your take on that when it comes to hip hop and kind of disability?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I look at it this way. You don't got to be a thug, you know.
Yeah.
You don't got to be a thug. You don't got to. You don't have to be on the streets. Um, gang banging. None of that. You know what I mean? You can have the passion for it. You can have the talent, the like everything that makes you want to actually write good lyrics, write good music, right, and put it out there for the world to listen to, right? Well, I think the misconception there is that, especially when people, as soon as you hear rap or somebody says, "Oh, hip hop," the first thing that people think of is, "Oh, man, like this person's probably a street thug, selling drugs, does they, like, you know what I mean? All the 9 yards, right?" And then, especially if you are somebody of color, right? You know what I mean? That's the misconception there. But I don't think hip hop artists, everybody is the same. Like, you know what I mean? You don't have to be that way, or have that, living that lifestyle to consider yourself a hip hop artist. You know what I mean? I don't know. Think, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. So very, you know what? You said it wonderfully. You are absolutely correct, because there is so much genres of hip hop, right? And when you did say every artist is different, even living with sight loss or a disability or whatever diversity, the fact that you do have a story to tell.
Exactly. Right?
It's beautiful, because what hip hop is, and other genres of music, it's about struggles, it's about perseverance, it's about discipline, it's about getting to where you are now. So I feel like it goes hand in hand, you know what I mean?
That's what I mean. Uh, when especially, I guess, over the years, what it has come to, well, no, I guess people's idea of hip hop is, street thugs, right? But nah, man, it definitely don't have to be a street thug, right?
Yeah.
You can somebody who's passionate and never, passion for the music. And like you said, some struggles that you may have gone through that you want to share with the world, you can tell that story. It's like storytelling, right? Like when you make music, you just tell a story, right? Right? And it can come out in different forms, right? Like, some people like to create beats. For myself, I like to create beats, right? Just based on how I'm feeling, right? And I just like to write. I just like to rap, right? So.
I totally feel you. I'm on the lyrical side. I know you're the beat maker. I know eventually we'll get a song going on.
100%. It's in the works.
For sure. So those listeners who are listening, keep ear out and eye out and all that. So let me go into your DJing career, Mr. DJ GQ. DJ GQ. So do you have any stories about DJing? I know you ran down the technology that you use, but do you have any stories about being a DJ with sight loss? Because I bet a lot of people wonder, you're in clubs, you're in dark clubs, you're people, when they first meet you, they're probably like, how did you get here? Who you wear for? You're a DJ? So share, if you have a couple of stories about your DJ experience, that would be awesome to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of stories regarding the barriers I've faced as a DJ, and not just a DJ, but a blind DJ, right? I faced a lot of barriers, and I got endless amount of stories about that. But most of the time, usually when I go to places to play, right? Most of the time, I don't disclose my disability to people, right? And people usually hear of me through word of mouth, right? Or I've worked with somebody before and they recommended me, right? But if it's a new, person that I'm, or new place that I'm going to play at, I usually don't disclose my disability to people. And the reactions that I get from people when I walk in with my cane, right? And my controller and my laptop and my equipment, people are like, "Are you the DJ?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the DJ." I remember that. I'll never forget this one for sure. I walked into one of their bars. I don't want to name mention the bar name, but yeah, I walked into the bar. They had booked me for 4 hours from 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. I walked in the bar. I went to the back, and I asked where the DJ booth was because I was there to play. And the manager saw me, looked at McCain, and said, "We didn't hire you." And I'm like, "Well, you didn't hire me, but you clearly asked the promoter to get a DJ for the night, right?" And they were dumbfounded. They're like, "Yeah, but you can't see." And I'm like, "What does that have to do with anything?" Right? It's like, how are you going to work our equipment? I'm like, I don't need your equipment. I got my equipment, right? And it was like playing 21 questions with these guys, trying to convince them that, of course, like, I can play. And after half an hour going back and forth with his managers, calling the promoter, so on and so forth, they got me to play. And at the end of the night, the guy who initially approached me, I was like, "Man, I really underestimated your skills." Like, you see, this is kind of barriers that we face. You know, on not just the disability level, but like without anybody hearing, that what you can do, they already start judging. You know, and that's a big, like, one of the things that like I said, I still get to this day. Not to that extent, but usually it's like, people are like sort of iffy about, giving me the opportunity because they don't know how I'm gonna, play or work equipment, so on and so forth. But the same way that everybody, all the DJs that they get coming in house and whatnot, play, right? They should have that same level of open-mindedness for people with disabilities, right? And it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like when I hear people's reaction, I wish I could see their face, to see their future reactions. But yeah, what I just the like, this guy was just quiet. Like, he was quiet for like a minute before he's like, "We didn't hire you." Well, clearly somebody sent me here, so just let me do my thing. You know what I mean? I did it, and then he's like, "Damn, I underestimated you." Right? Crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about it because, like, even looking at advocacy, because obviously me as an advocacy person, and we always talk about it where like everybody thinks advocacy is about like going in the streets and picketing or talking to politicians and talking to this and that, and that's how you make change. But just even your sheer presence,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like your sheer presence of what you even did, you just changed that dude's mind.
For sure.
Like
For sure.
it's crazy. He thought you couldn't DJ. Now his mind has changed for everything. Maybe he might see dancers who have sight loss or any sort of other disabilities. And you, my friend, totally changed his mind and totally made him go 180.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, like you said, man, we just need to put ourselves out there, man. Change the perception of individuals with sight loss, or for any type of disability for that matter. You know what I mean? Because it's just the perception that society has on us, right? I think that's the barrier that we face. But once that's broken, man, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
I can imagine how much talent will just spring out there, right? Give people the opportunities and what, like, hear or see what people do. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people who are probably not comfortable, coming out and sharing what they have because they're scared they will be discriminated against or all of that, 9 yards.
Making changes, man, and that's big, man. Honestly, that is huge. So even with that said, do you have any other like DJ stories, like
Oh,
that?
yeah. One of the times that I was called in to come play, right? And usually when you play at clubs, there's a couple of DJs, right? That you know that play for the night. So there's usually they don't have to be specialized in any type of genre or whatever. They just have their own, slot, like an hour or so. They go on, they do their thing, and then the next DJ goes on. Right. So we were playing at this club, and I was supposed to go on at 2, right? It's like the prime time, right? That's when everybody's there. I was supposed to go on at 2, and the promoter who got me on that slot, right? He specifically put me on 2 because he knows that I play well, right? And I worked with them a couple of times. But when I showed up and I was asking the other DJs to help me get to the stage and familiarize myself with the stage and whatnot, they're like, "Bro, what? Who hired you?" I'm like, "What do you mean, who hired you?"
Again, eh?
Exactly. What do you mean, who hired you? I'm like, "I'm here to play the same way that you guys are here to play." They're like, "Yeah, but like, what? How you gonna see to play? How you gonna do this?" I'm like, "Listen, the same way you guys play is the same way I'm gonna play, right?" Right? And it's crazy, man. They were trying to give me like the 10 o'clock to like 11 o'clock our time, right? Where it's like, you're like the party started, whatnot. Right? I'm like, no, we ain't doing all that. I'm here to play from 2 to whenever the club closed. So, I'm not changing that. But they thought I was just gonna, excuse my French, like mess up the whole show or something, because like I'm blind, right? But that night I changed the whole perception because most of the time people weren't actually dancing, right? And this was brought to my attention from the person who I was working with, the promoter that was there. It's like, man, but as soon as you went on, it's like you just changed the whole atmosphere, right? And nobody even knew that I had, all the club goers that were there didn't even know that I have vision impairment, right? Or I was blind, right? It's just again like that whole barrier thing. Like people, as soon as people see you, they have they've already formulated this idea of he can't do this. He's limited to doing this. But nah, I ain't. You know what I mean? We ain't, not just me, but anybody with a disability is not limited to doing only what society dictates that they're able to do. So
Exactly. Nor should you be dictated on what you should do. And just hearing your stories, I could already tell. I could tell that this brother is determined because being told that constantly, and sometimes we even get prepared to be told that, where we're like, yeah, they're definitely going to count me out,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, the stories are endless. I remember the first time I actually played outside, like played at a professional setting. The person who initially asked me to play was trying to tell me how to play, how to entertain the crowd. And he wasn't so happy with what I did because he expected something differently. I don't know what he expected. He actually didn't even call me back for like 3-4 years, right? And then once he started hearing that I was making noise in the community and so on and so forth, he's like, "Whoa, we gotta get you back into playing and this and that." I'm like, "Yeah, but I thought you didn't really want me to play." Right? To the point where now he's changed his, I guess, perception on me and what I do, right? Yeah, it's man, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I love it. I love just hearing these stories. I love, like I said, changing the perception. And like I said, me being a hip hop guy, there's been so many times where it was just like, oh, like, what do you have to talk about? Or or
Mhm.
like when people, I remember I do it for a hobby, so I don't like do it and publicize it too much. I have a love for it still, but I remember talking about my music and people were like, "Oh, like I'll listen to it," and they're kind of like, "Yo, everybody's a rapper. Everybody thinks they're a rapper," and they would listen to my song, come back and
Mhm.
be like, "Whoa, oh Lee, that's better than I expected," and it
Right.
just shows like any kind of arts, you know what I mean? Even if it's not hip hop or music, even like any kind of arts, like drama, the arts, painting, poetry, anything, like you
Yeah.
gotta give people a chance, you know?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It's crazy. Like it's crazy how people say, "Oh, I didn't expect that." What exactly were you expecting?
Well, they're
So,
probably expecting crap, right?
yeah,
Low
exactly.
standards, right?
Exactly.
Low
Right.
standards, probably expecting, oh, you're probably gonna talk about in your rap technology, or you're gonna talk about guide dogs, or just like things that are stereotypically blind people, sight lost people, right? But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it brings up a really good point. I was talking to one of my colleagues, and they're
Mhm.
making mention, and this is pretty typical in our world, where instead of being known as here's George, the blind DJ, it should be the other way around, where it's like here's George, the DJ who happens to be blind, you know?
That's it. That's it. That's it. And it's funny. Like I don't introduce myself as I'm a blind DJ. I'm a DJ who happens to be blind. It's funny you mention it. It's true, but that's how people should definitely be knowing us as, or referring to us as, right? What we do comes first.
Hmm.
Our disability is something that just happens to be a part of our lives. You know what I mean? It should definitely, and that's how society, the whole community needs to start thinking about that, shifting the mindset, right? Yeah.
Shifting the narrative for sure, for sure. So definitely like just your perseverance, hearing like your stories, it brings me to the next question of we got a lot of people who look up to you, you know what I mean? Young black boys, you know, looking up to you, and they're thinking like, oh, I'm black, whatever, I have low standards, I don't thrive in school. Even for maybe those who live with a disability, where it's like I like making music, but I'm not looking on TV and seeing anybody who admits they live with a disability or has a disability.
Right.
So even your advice, just even young black men without a disability and a disability, like what advice do you have to give them out there following the dreams?
Man, color don't matter. Um, whatever, you know, you identify as don't matter. Talent comes first. Always, always push for your talent. Take it to the next level, push it to the limit, and honestly, work hard. Like never, like man, you can send in or approach 100 people, right? But there's always that one person who is gonna give you that opportunity, and it just takes that one person, you know, to change your life. So, and that definitely happened to me as well, right? Took that one person to give me that opportunity, because man, I can't tell you how many times, man, I pushed promoters, I pushed, you know, different venues, um, and you just give him my number, to give him my mixes and whatnot, and like, yeah, we'll connect with you, da da da. You know what I mean? But I don't hear a word from them, right? But it just took that one person to not even look at me as a person with sight loss, right? They looked at me as a DJ who happens to be blind, right? And gave me the opportunity, and that changed my life, right? Um, so yeah, for you know, listen, honestly, anybody who's listening, anybody out there who wants to pursue their dream, it doesn't have to be music related, whatever it is. Yeah, don't let anything stand in your way, especially something that you identify as. Let your talent comes first.
Yeah, you know what? I definitely agree. And even the contrast to that, expect people are gonna say that your stuff is crap.
One hundred
People
percent.
Yeah, so many times. So many times I show someone my stuff and instantly they're like, "Oh, this is crap, man. This is garbage. This is like you should stop. You should stop."
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
You
yeah.
get that as well? You got that as
Yo,
well?
oh, definitely, man. Like I see, I look at it this way, man. I'm see. I feel like when you enjoy what you do, the energy you put out there, people will enjoy it too. You're always gonna have that one person, that two person, that whatever, right? The haters who are not
Yeah.
gonna go with it or who are not gonna like it. But yo, the energy that you put out there, um, you know, you're definitely gonna get that energy back, right? And I've had people who, I thought I had a great set, and they're like, "Ugh, your the song choices was not good, or this and that." They're expecting something, you know what I mean? But this is what I always say, man. They're not listening for the talent, right? They're listening for the, just the general things that I guess people just hear, right? So using DJing as an example, right? People just want to hear the music. They don't hear all the hardware that we've put in, right? Like scratching, for example, right? Making your own mashup. People don't listen for that, right? But yo, it takes years, it takes practice,
Mhm.
right? But there, like I said, there are those people who are in the crowd who listens for that kind of stuff, right? And yo, if you're putting out that energy and they're receiving it, right? It just makes your day a whole lot better, right? Like it makes you feel good about your set or your music, so on and so forth. But you don't gotta listen for the haters. Yeah, it's always gonna be.
Yeah, yeah, I know I find about haters and these people who always have that pessimist nature to them. If
Yeah,
they're only saying that your stuff is garbage and trash or whatever, and they don't even provide that constructive criticism,
yeah.
you know they're a hater. You know that they like if someone says to you, "Oh, George, your set was trash or it wasn't
Yeah,
good," and they can't even provide feedback, okay, how was it not good?
yeah, exactly,
Where can
exactly.
I improve upon it? And if they don't say anything, you know,
Hmm.
we're gonna label them as a hater. And the thing is, just have to know that you have to bounce back from
Yeah,
from negativity. That's where it's always gonna be for sure.
100%, man. I take those things as motivation to get better and better and better. You feel me?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. And I love your sets, man. I love your sets. We're about to round up this episode. As much as I could talk to you forever, bro. I could chat with you forever. I didn't even get to go in the nitty-gritty and be like, what's your favorite set? Actually, you know what? What is your favorite sets and all that? What's your favorite transition? What's the best set you ever done?
Oh man, yeah, it's crazy, man. Like so during COVID, we had limited capacity of when things were open up, you had limited um people you can have, you know, in a given space, right? So we used to do some bus parties, man, and them sets were crazy. Like those like one of my favorite times, like DJing on those buses, right? It's like a party bus. It's got lights, it's got everything in there, like club lights. And we bring our speakers to set up our whole equipment in there, everybody boogie in the bus. I literally just call it club on wheels because that's just what it is. It's literally club on wheels. You know what I mean? And my favorite thing is to play old school music. Like 90s, 80s disco into old school dancehall reggae. You know what I mean? Those are my favorite transitions. Favorite time of the party. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Mhm.
that.
And you can't forget Afro beats as well.
Oh man, you know what I mean?
Hey,
Yeah, I should got the crowd going. Hey, drop a look off food right here and there.
uh,
Oh,
it's
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 up.
crazy. It's crazy. I've been in so many sets that a couple of sets that George has done, and this guy he gets you off your feet. Even if you're like, oh, tonight I'm not gonna be dancing. Yo, you're wrong. You're wrong. Every time this guy has a set, you're dancing. No
I,
doubt.
I
No
appreciate.
doubt. No doubt. So as I was saying, Noah, we're about to round out. Do you have any comments? And along with any comments, you want to drop your social media or anything that we should be looking out for?
Yeah, like yeah, people can follow me up on Instagram. I'm on there as GQ Sounds. I'm on SoundCloud. I'm on Mixcloud. I'm gonna be honest. I created a new account on both platforms, so I haven't uploaded any of my sets yet. But for sure, look out for that. It's definitely gonna be dropping soon. Yeah, Instagram is mainly my place. I'm always hanging out there, so follow me.
Beautiful, beautiful, man. Honestly, like everybody follow this guy. He kills it each set he does. And yo, bro, it was a pleasure. Hey, oh, you don't understand how happy I was to do this episode. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me, and definitely looking forward to more.
Yeah, no problem. And you know I'm gonna get you back on the show because what the listeners don't know, or if you already know of George, he's a runner, he's a dancer, so he has so much to speak about. So, bro, you're coming back.
100%. I got you. Got you.
Yeah, yeah. And one more thing. What do you think about the intro of the song? Be honest. Be honest.
Yo, that intro, though I heard that, I'm like, yo, what is that? I know it was you on those bars though. Yeah,
True,
that was
true.
crazy. That's crazy. I think I gotta do a little something too.
Exactly. Hey, maybe we could remix it
I'll
and
shoot
now
for
we could use we could use your mix on the intro. So
that. I
eh,
got you. Got you. We'll work something out.
excellent, excellent. So once again, thank you for being on the show, George. For the listeners, thank you for listening to the Lands Living Diverse. Once again, I was one of your hosts. If you want to listen to more episodes, along with re-listening to this amazing episode with the man, the legend, George DJ GQ, you could I can't talk right now. Subscribe to your favorite platform where you get your podcasts. Also, if you want to get some more information about diversity and inclusion, you can visit the CNIB Diversity and Inclusion page. You click on advocacy, and then you go to We Are CNIB. And lastly, if you have any input or you want to be a part of the Lands Living Diverse, you can visit or actually email us at advocacy@cnib.ca. All right. Once again, everybody, I'm Ben. Thank you for listening to The Lens, Living Diverse. Peace.